in Decatur. It was another great night for DecaturFC, beating Atlanta Fire United by a familiar scoreline, 5-2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of FiveTakes Femenil, the show where we cover the women's game at the local level. My name is Glenn Paisan, and joining me today is a Fortnite fiend, Amy Anna Marie. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Good, Glenn. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this team that just might not ever lose.
Hey, don't talk about Bruno, Glenn. Don't do that to them.
I think we could
Even if
talk
I
about
think I
Bruno.
agree with you.
I think we might be able to talk about Bruno just a little bit at least. I really appreciate Coach Chapman and everybody with this club, Joel and Gareth, and they're very humble, very reserved. Hey, every team is good. We're going to face stiffer competition. It's going to get harder from here. The schedule is tough, a lot of match compression. Don't expect us to multi-goal wins every time. They might just keep smashing at this point, because we got to see something a little different last week with a team that maybe didn't come out with the same exact fire that we've seen time and time again this season and previous seasons, and they still did it.
Yeah, it was interesting last night. Even some of the players after the match, acknowledged that the start was maybe a little more sluggish than you'd like to see at the very beginning. Whether that's just match compression, it's summer legs, it's hey, you're only human and can be on 100% of the time so much.
It was a little summery last night. It was warm, but it cooled off.
It did. It definitely cooled off, and as the sun went down, it seemed like our team kind of almost turned on.
Sun
Yeah,
goes down, team goes up.
yeah. A glowing indicator. No, it was fantastic, and we got to see another player step up last night, which was kind of fantastic. A couple weeks ago it was Becky. Last match it was Maggie, and this time we have Dylan showing up on the score sheet with a hat trick. Kind of out of nowhere, and we talked to them a little bit about that transition after the match, and what I really loved seeing was early on we unfortunately gave up a penalty, which was pretty much all I really saw from a threat. There were a couple of great shots from outside the box, but in terms of any kind of penetration into our own 18, it was really only in that first 15 or so minutes when they got the penalty. But you saw the team get together, huddle, and from there it seemed like the mentality shifted and they just started finding each other some more. And we talked to Dylan a little bit about that.
Yeah. I agree on all that. It was really nice to see a different side of the team because they haven't fallen behind. Like, they've led the entire season. They've never dropped a goal early like that, and that's different. That's game state. Jason Longshore talks about that all the time. Everybody in soccer talks about that all the time, about game state and how important the first goal is. Certainly we've seen that with Atlanta United, how important that first goal is. But they just rallied up. They seemed very unbothered. They recognized that maybe they weren't at the level that they need to be. We saw that from the stands. I mentioned it to you a couple of times that it just felt like they were a little bit off the pace. I wasn't alarmed or anything. And then they just picked right back up and, did a quick self-analysis and carried on. I mean, it was nice to see. It was nice to see. Like, they're playing good teams. They're mentality monsters. I don't know how else to say it. Like, they're so unified, so together, and they hold each other, I think, accountable to those standards that they set for themselves,
And we also, again, saw the blend that this team brings of established relationships that are humming and working together with, the assist from Sydney Thibodeau to Dylan Driver. I mean, just, Dylan talked to us, after the game about that relationship, but it was really cool to once again see this combination of, hey, some girls that do play together, that know each other, that play well, creating that chemistry, but
Mm,
then combining that with these new relationships blooming.
yeah.
You have, we got to have a conversation with Smith as well
Hmm.
after this match, and she talks a little bit about her connection with Maggie Wadsworth, and
Yeah.
it's cool seeing a team that is a blend of relationships coming together and making that work. Uh, a relief almost, like it can happen, right? We have hope for our men's team.
Right. It is possible, guys.
It's
There
it
is
can do
another
it.
team right down the road showing you that it is possible. This team seemingly always has a player in every match that turns up big, a different player almost every time, every game, whether it's been Becky, Maggie, last night was Dylan. It's like, and you asked me this last night, you didn't see a captain's armband on anyone. They don't have it in this league. And it's just out of necessity, players coming, going, whether it's
Yeah.
college or pro opportunities. We have a new player that joined the club just this week, with Giselle Daniels from Troy University. So it's constantly in flux, but it's like a team of captains that are all comfortable on any given game, any given moment, putting the team on their back when called about and or when called upon. And we spoke to Dylan right after the match. Bless their hearts there for giving us the time. And actually, they were for a moment they were locked out of their locker room right after the final whistle. You got to love lower league football. I love it. Just played their hearts out and can't even go in and get their own gear, but they got the door unlocked. And then afterwards, Dylan gave us a little time to talk about the match and what it was like going down early for the first time and what they did to recognize the changes that they needed to make and then implement those changes.
Amazing night tonight. Started off a little bit slow, but then noticed all night you just seemed totally instrumental in the midfield in holding possession once we started to kind of settle down. Can you walk me through from your perspective what happened from the huddle to when, the goals happened and kind of that shift?
Yeah, I think that it was a little bit of a slow start, definitely our slowest. It still wasn't bad, but it was one of our slowest starts. I think really just feeding off of each other and noticing that we needed to pick it up, and then just recognizing when each other kind of maybe fatigued or something and just picking up after one another.
I definitely felt that kind of like anticipation and teamwork in the midfield all night from you. And it kind of almost that work led up to your goal, right? And it seemed like you and Maggie just kind of had this kismet on that moment. Can you walk me through?
Yeah, I yelled at not yelled at her, but I knew Maggie was right there, and so I was yelling to her, Tommy, and I knew she was going to do that because Maggie's a great player and she definitely trusts her teammates. So I kind of just anticipating that she was going to leave it, and then hitting it first time. And for teamwork in the midfield, I think, like I said, we feed off of each other's energy, but like if one of us is not, or we all work hard for each other. So
you were really instrumental tonight. I was glad to see you get on the score sheet because it felt like you were just doing a lot of dirty work in the night, trying to connect that back line and front line, especially after the huddle and you guys came back.
Thank you so much.
Congrats on an excellent game. And
thank you.
Thank you for the time tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Dylan for speaking to us after the match. And I appreciate everything she's had to say. I appreciate the way that this team can just pick themselves up off the mat when they needed to, and they did so pretty quickly, and score from a variety of ways too. Like if the buildup isn't working, take your shots from outside the 18, and they did that to really get things going. And once they got things going, they stayed going, I think, throughout the rest of the match. Like you said, there wasn't a whole lot of threats present by Atlanta Fire United. A lot of stuff from outside the 18, and then the PK. And if that's all you're defending against, I think you're pretty happy with that.
I think that we got a little bit of a break in playing this match last night, just to give full credit to the team they were playing against, which was definitely a quality opponent, but just was a little overmatched at times. I think there was a player who was playing forward for the other team.
That's
the number
true.
was 16. I haven't
big striker up top.
Find her name. Big striker up top. She picked up a knock, later in the first half, And I don't think that Atlanta Fire United's attack was ever really the same quite after that. She was deceptively quick, really good at pressing, and did cause
Good
a little
hold-up
bit of
play, could win the
the
ball.
issues. And it was really her pressing that led to the penalty kick, I think, early on, as well as another
That's
big
fair.
chance that they had pretty early on, where Nikki Badoon gets back and gets big to block an early opportunity. So, I think that maybe you might have seen a little bit more offensive firepower if she had been able to stay healthy, but you never like to see a quality opponent get injured.
No,
Nothing
especially at
malicious,
this
just sort
level.
of how it picked up. And the referee was letting them play a very physical match last night, which
Boy, was she.
you
was letting everything go and seemingly couldn't get out of the way at times, the ball making contact a number of times. She kind of cleaned it up in the first half, but she was letting a lot go. I don't want to say swallowing the whistle and not calling things that should obviously be called, but some refs, and I actually appreciate that about a ref. You want to let players play and give us more football? That's good. I'm good with it.
I thought all in all, notwithstanding the couple of instances where unfortunately she got hit with the ball in the first half, that the flow of the match overall was really good. I definitely would say it was a very physical match, and as you said, the ref was definitely not calling little things, but I did appreciate the consistency throughout the night of at least swallowing the whistle on both sides. So I felt like it was a fair match from that perspective.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then coming out of the huddle, I think that we saw, again, going back to relationships, it just feels like the theme here. In the midfield, we've got to see a lot of Emma Chapman alongside Smith, Cathey, who gave us a really nice interview and spent a couple minutes with us after the match. Smith and Emma play together at Georgia Southern. I thought they were quite good together in the midfield. And really after that huddle, we seemed to be a little bit better at anticipating one another. And then, Smith, again, to me, was really instrumental in helping to maintain possession for the team once they started to settle down.
Big time. Smith has been a bit of an unsung hero for this team. One of those players that does the hard work and maybe doesn't show up on the stat sheet, doesn't show up in the highlight reels quite as much, but is every bit as instrumental. And the work she puts in is key to the success of this team. So it was really nice to see her get a reward last night with a goal. And like Amy said, she also gave us a little bit of time after the match, after they got the door unlocked and spoke to us just about some similar things to what Dylan was talking about with just going down early and getting back up, and also talking about her relationships with some of the players on the field and how that really helps these little relationships that players have with 1, 2, 3 players, and how they all kind of form together for one big relationship. So here is Smith Cathey talking about that.
Yeah, so first, congrats on the hat trick. Amazing night. Obviously, the game started off a little bit slower. Yeah. You guys got the penalty, and then I saw the huddle and everything. I'd just love to hear from you what happened in the huddle. What do you think sparked that moment that kicked off your hat trick and everything else?
We started the game off a little sluggish, so we kind of just brought it all together. We were just like, we got to get the energy up, guys. Like, we just got to be, first to every ball, everything. And, like, I take pride in, like, working hard. So I was like, I'm just going to go out there and just give it all I got, try to win those first, second balls, just dig. And I had a shot a little bit earlier that was pretty similar to my first goal. And I was like, okay, like, I got this. So I was like, let me just try it. I can go wrong. And that really brought us a lot of energies to build off of. So, yeah.
Absolutely. It seemed to spark that comeback. It was just kind of an individual moment. Yeah. Excellent on you to see the space. But you also had contributions from your teammates. I mean, walk me through that second goal, that ball that's played in.
So Sydney Thibodeau and I have been longtime best friends and teammates at Auburn. So, we kind of have that connection on and off the field. And, our coaches at Auburn and here have always said, like, how good of a connection we have. And so I knew what she was going to do. And I was like, all right, let me just go for it. I saw a little space behind the back line, and I just tapped it in. So, that was super exciting.
It was beautiful. We watched it back a little bit on the feed.
Yeah.
And it was just, I'm glad to know you guys had that connection.
Oh, yeah, we're best friends.
Perfect ball in.
Yes.
And then that third goal to me was totally different too. It seemed
Oh,
like
yeah.
just persistence. Can
Yes.
you walk me through?
Yeah. So, Caitlin, you know, she really did the dirty work on that one. She got her body in there, you know, bouncing ball all over the place. I was just like, let me get a foot on it. Got a shot off. The keeper made a good save. Luckily came right back to me, and I was just like, oh, let me just, you know, go for it. And so, you know, sometimes the goals aren't as pretty as the first one, but, you know, they all count the same, so who cares?
Yeah, but just take your shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing night.
Thank
Well,
you.
Congrats on the win. Congrats on the hat trick.
Yeah,
and
thank you
for
so much.
taking some time
Of course.
us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you to Smith for doing that real quick with us. We really appreciate it as always. I'm very impressed with everybody in this team and how well spoken all these girls are, how comfortable they are speaking with any air quotes media members, you know, and their soccer IQ, the way they understand and see and speak about the game is very, very high at this level. And I think that speaks volumes about the team, and they all understand not only the game, but who they are and how they need to approach every match and the tools that they have mentally, you know, to achieve success. Their mentality monsters. And they're all saying similar stuff too, in similar ways. They are on not even the same page. They're on the same sentence, the same syllable. Like this is a unified group, and it's just impressive to me, again, because we don't see it as much with our men's team. But even if we had, I still think this is really, really impressive.
Well, I think that it's really impressive to me. You know, all the players are very humble. They seem to have very
hard workers. They just want to put in the work.
Very hard workers, and just kind of thrilled to be there. And I think you definitely see in these matches that desire to play. They just want to be on the field. They just want to, you know, improve and work together. And it's cool, and it's easy to get behind them.
It's easy to root for. So the team is scoring in bunches, obviously. I mean, they're smashing the goal differential button. Like, it's incredible. But their underrated strength is their defense. Players like Jasmine and Naya, really the entire back line, if we're being honest, makes it really difficult for the opponent to get really anything from open play. Their size and strength pretty much nullifies direct play. And we saw that after their Atlanta Fire's key striker went down. They just didn't have that option anymore. And even when they did, it's really difficult. It doesn't make it much of a threat. And then their organization makes being threatening on the counter or just through the build-up play kind of equally difficult. We talked about that briefly with Joel last night walking out of the stadium, and just how impressive we were with, the goals are great. And everybody loves seeing the goal scored, and scoring is the hardest thing to do in this sport. But let's talk about the defense for a minute, because, you know, as any analyst will say on any sports talk show, defense wins championships.
100%. And you see a couple of really, I think, key things last night from the defense, especially when you have a moment where you start off a little sluggish. It can be really critical to your overall mentality to make sure that your defense, you know, stands together and doesn't crumble in that moment. Very early in the match, prior to the penalty, as I mentioned, we saw a little bit of a breakdown, and you had your goalkeeper step up in that moment, get back, get big, really bailed out her defender in a way that builds a lot of trust. And I think is a tribute, you know, it is credit to the work that the keeper and her center backs have done to be on the same page, to even and the quick decisioning there, right? To get down
they
to
trust
block
each
the
other.
shot.
Someone misses a pass, plays a bad ball, the other's going to get it.
Right. So unfortunately you do have a breakdown. You have a penalty given up, just some tangled legs. Again, they were going against, I think, a striker that was causing them a little bit, playing a little more directly, I think, than what I've seen in the other match that we watched. But after that, it seemed like from that moment, you get everybody together in that huddle and they come out, and the rest of the match, you know, Jasmine, Anaya, Najiri was in there for a while. Just there were, I think, 5 different players that played on the back line, but really the 3 center backs were just lockstep the rest of the match. And you see that in the ultimate stat sheet, because even though Atlanta Fire United goes up 1-0, they seem to have a little momentum going their way. the only other goal they end up getting is a worldie. I mean, they take a shot from 25 yards out, they turn, somebody doesn't close down the space, you get 2 inches, and it's an individual effort from, another one of their strikers to put it in. And that's it. And that's the only chance I think they had.
I'm happy with that if I'm a coach. Joel we talked about that with him too. If that's all you have to defend against, or world-class wonder strikes from 20 plus, okay. And a PK, it happens. There's no defensive breakdowns. There's nothing you have to go and think, oh my gosh, how are they getting so many chances? How? It's not happening.
No, and you can tell from the body language and everything else, like how much they're communicating during the game with one another. How often a girl is, immediately one touch, picking up her head and looking for the next pass, the next player. We saw a lot of that one touch passing last night. Once we really got in rhythm, it was, receive ball, turn, go. And seems like a message that we've been hearing a lot about, but actually saw executed last night, which was pretty fun. Seriously, guys, if you want to see some quality football, come out for these games and check out the YouTube stream if you can't make it out.
On the US Soccer Network on YouTube. But you should come out. I mean, 2,620 people decided to come out. You should come out too. It's another tremendous turnout. Joel and Gareth have a stated goal this season, because they're never satisfied, never rest on your laurels, of exceeding 3,000. The final home match is June 27th versus Chattanooga. Another 400? That feels really attainable.
We love records, y'all. Come on.
We love records. More than records, we love smashing them. We've done that in this city multiple times over all our teams, and when it comes to attendance and support. This feels really doable. So clear your calendars. Be there on the 27th. I mean, would love you to be there for all the matches, but we get it. Sometimes life gets in the way. It's tough. Get there on the 27th. Be a part of something that's going to be historic, that will make national news in this league and just in sports in general. Like, pack these stands. Imagine the photo that will be circulating everywhere. Like, come be a part of that, because it's going to be really historic. And I think this is totally, totally doable.
100%. I mean, June 27th, the place to be is Friday night in Decatur. Come out, just enjoy the vibes and enjoy, supporting this team. You've got 2 more opportunities, June 20th, June 27th, to come, see what they're building here.
Building,
right?
Come be a part of it. Come build. Like, the support is just as important as the play on the field, as the organization in the club and everything that goes into it. None of it happens if people don't buy tickets and show up. And they bought tickets and show up. Come be a part of something that's going to be historic. Like you said, there is one more match prior to that on the 20th. There is no home game next week. They do have 2 away games. Big road trip for them. On the 10th, they're going to take on UFA Gunners again at 7 p.m. All the games are at 7. And Georgia Impact away on the 15th. And if you can't make those either, again, stream them on the US Soccer Network on YouTube, as well as a bunch of other games. They're doing tremendous work streaming lower league football on women's and men's side, which is really cool to see all these kids get some exposure nationally, globally. Honestly, I mean, it's YouTube. Stream this pretty much anywhere, It's cool to see that.
You are big on building things, if you really want Atlanta, we're Soccer City, right? That's what we want to be. That's what we're building at the National Training Center and all of this. That starts grassroots. And one of the things that I just absolutely love about this atmosphere is the kids that are out there, that are getting exposure to soccer. I mean,
kids got in free last night, by the way. It was free compliments of Henry Incorporated in Decatur, just a steel manufacturing company that decided to sponsor a bunch of kids to let them in. The buy-in from the town, man, the buy-in from the companies, the support that this club is getting from just a manufacturer has nothing to do with the sport, but they see the value in building community and giving kids opportunities.
And let me tell you, the kids brought the vibe. There was a solid stretch of maybe 5 minutes there where they were just beating on the stands, stomping their feet, chanting Decatur, just like they were old hat. And, that's building the supporters of the future, y'all. Come out
Yep.
and show them how it's done, right?
Yep. Be there in Decatur Square. It's fun. It's a good time. The pre-match is always great. And all the kids get to meet all the players afterwards and get things signed and just talk with them. Also, don't forget about Wednesday Night Lights. That is still going on. They had 42 kids show up at the last one this past week, which I think doubles it, if I'm not
just
mistaken.
About a double from the last
from previous. I mean, the buy-in from everybody, right? From the town and then the club back to the town. The symbiotic relationship there is great. You have 2 more opportunities to do that on June 11th and June 18th. It's free. Did I mention it's free? It's free. It's free. It's free for young girls 6 to 14 from 6 to 7:30 at the East Lake MARTA station. Come out for that and get your kids an opportunity to talk with these girls and improve some skills. It's a tremendous opportunity. Did I mention it's free? Bring them out.
Seriously.
Bring them out. There's no reason not to. No reason not to. All right. I think that about does it for the match with Decatur. A little bit of news with USA women. US men play today. Let's not even talk about it. They're a mess. Men's team is a damn mess. 1 year out from the start of the World Cup. We'll see. It's probably just going to be Diego Luna running around like a maniac. We'll see. But the women are winning. Shocking. So we had a 4 goals. I think, what was that? 4-0 over Jamaica. Braces from Allie. Braces from Allie Sentinor. Plays with the Utah Royals. Her second season there. She's only 21. 9 caps for USA. Already 4 goals. Pretty incredible. And then Lynn Biendello, Seattle Reign. 2 goals from her. She's a bit of a journeywoman. She's been all around NWSL. Briefly in Australia for like 2 months with the Socceroos down there. She's got
thrilled
80
for
caps.
Lynn. Thrilled for Lynn, who has been, second fiddle behind several different strikers for USA, as we've had really deep benches at that position, but is making the most of her opportunities, it seems, and really clicking under Emma. So thrilled for her.
Shout out to Emma, man. Like, what a coach. Top. What a get that was for U.S. soccer to get her to come and leave somewhere where she's just known nothing but success at Chelsea.
If you want to see the difference mentality makes in a team, especially a team sport, look at the differences in the psychology of the U.S. men's and U.S. women's national teams. And I get it. It's easier to believe you can do it when you've done it. But a lot of these girls weren't the ones to do it. They just bought in that it can be done. So I feel like we're going to see that shift in the men when we see that mentality shift as well. And when we start to see more of that, that next player up mentality that we are treated to on the women's side. I hope we get there, but I understand
but it's not there right now on the men's side. It's just not. Like, we have to be real and call it out and be honest.
Wanting it to be and it being there are not the same.
To quote Ronnie Dyla, we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be honest. We're soft. Soft. I think the men's team is, and it's just a very stark difference. And if you want to see that contrast, watch the women's team. They have 2 more friendlies coming up on the 26th and 29th against Ireland, and then against Canada on July 2nd, right before the 4th of July. They also got a 3-0 win over China. Goals from my girl Katarina, plays for Chelsea, Sam Coffey, and Lindsay Heaps, formerly Lindsay Horan. Goals from all 3 of them. No worries. They're just churning right along.
Well, I think what's impressive is that they're doing sort of classic USA women's soccer things against a world that is substantially improved compared with your world-beating USA teams of the past.
Right. The competition is tough.
It's better. But that
makes them better too.
Absolutely.
Iron sharpens iron, or steel sharpens steel, whatever that turn of phrase is, for sure. It's not like it was in the past, and that's no disrespect to the countries and teams that they've played in the past where it was
It
still
takes
being
time to
developed.
build.
It takes time. It takes time to build. And
And you have to have a buy-in on women, right? And you could have a
right,
whole pod about that, right?
right.
And
Maybe
what
we
a
will.
difference it makes when you start investing. And that's why I think for me, just to wrap this back around, this
Hmm.
whole development that we're seeing in Decatur is such a wonderful thing because
Yeah, the ROI is good.
you have to build from the ground up, and just to see the investment in the women's game is nice.
Agreed. Agreed. And you get a return for it, just in terms of the quality of the football. And who knows? Some of these girls, maybe we see them play for their respective countries. Not everybody is USA here. It is global in that way, and that would be really cool to see. I do think we are going to see some of these names in lights. I really do. This is not, not just with Decatur, with the other clubs around here, with Georgia Impact, with Atlanta Fire, with UFA Gunners.
100%. The state of Georgia is talent rich. We've always known that. We've already had
Just
players
needed
out
the
of the state of
opportunity.
Georgia play in World Cups,
Yep.
numerous times, and not just for the U.S. national team, but for Jamaica. We had a player out of a local DeKalb County high school, right, in the last Women's Cup. So it's just great to see the investment, and
I'm
I'm
telling you,
excited.
man. Georgia, not just Atlanta, the South is a hotbed for women's sports across. Not just in soccer. Shoot, Coco Gauff is playing Roland Garros in the final right now. She is currently up in the third set, 3-1 against Sabalenka, and she was born in Atlanta. Like, we got
Amazing.
talent here. We got talent in this city, in this state, and it's nice to see it being recognized on the global stage in whatever sport it is. But it doesn't happen without those opportunities being provided because a club or a group of people or an organization or a company decided to make those opportunities happen by investing their time, energy, and money. And the return, it's there. The return on investment is there. Like, the rinse and repeat. Proof of concept has been done. And now, but we can't rest on that either. And that's why it's so important for everyone to come out on the 27th, get out there and support this thing. Show the city, show the state, show the country, show the world what's going on here and how you could do the same thing too. This is attainable. This is achievable wherever you live in this crazy world. You also can have this, and you can point to this and say, see, look what they did. Bet we can do it if we put in a little work, time, energy, money too. It can be done.
And that is literally what we are doing right now in this city. I mean, unironically, I just got in the mail my brick that I bought because I'm a sucker for helping build the national
Yeah.
training center
U.S.
for
soccer.
the
All right.
USA team. I just got my brick in the mail, and it literally is a brick. And I was like, why did I want this brick? But I have it. The display case hasn't come yet. Maybe when I get the display case, then I can hold up my 50-pound brick. Nowhere nice as an Emmy, but
That's a little shout out to Kat. Kat, we miss you.
absolutely do. And but no, like, it came in, and I thought, this is a literal brick, but like, symbolically,
Yeah.
that is what each of us are and have the opportunity to be right now for this city, is to be the bricks upon
Be the
which,
bricks, man.
right, we're
Let's
building
go.
this foundation right now.
Yeah. I
You
love
know,
that. I
to
love that.
like, lay down the tracks, build the foundation, like, let's go.
All right,
And
y'all. You heard her.
till
Be
next
a
time.
brick. Be a brick, y'all. You heard the woman. Be a brick. Come out on the 27th. Put some bricks down. Let's go. All right, y'all. We very much appreciate you supporting this team and supporting us and Fan TV and whoever your local club is. If you're listening to this pod from afar and you've got a team that you're supporting, do that. Do that. Or if it's not even soccer, if it's tennis, if it's softball, if it's the WNBA, whatever it is. Look at this. Look at what's happening here and know that it can be done. This is not some fanciful thing. Like, it's happening in real time. So come be a part of that. it's the best way to invest your time, energy, and money, especially with everything that's going on right now. Have some joy in your life. Have some joy in your life and be a part of the joy. It's really, really important for your mental health. On top of it just being, bigger picture stuff and what we're trying to achieve, it's important on a personal level, I feel, as well. But I'm just speaking for me. What do you feel? Yeah? Same?
I love it. I
All
love it.
right. All right,
Well,
we will be back. We'll try and get a pod out to cover the 2 away matches that are going with UFA Gunners on the 10th and 15th. We'll try and stream those and kind of combine them into one and talk about inevitably 2 more wins, sure. And then we will definitely be back to talk about the next home game on the 20th. And that is, again, at Decatur High School, 7 p.m. Pre-game starts around 5:15 at O'Sullivan's. And then the march down to the stadium about 6:15. And then the last game on the 27th. Bring your bricks. Be a brick. Come out and build this thing with us.
don't worry. I'll make sure that we sage things to offset Glenn's Bruno talk, y'all. Like, you're away.
I think this is one team we can talk about it. I do think it is. They've shown us nothing but proof that we can talk about it. All right, y'all, we'll be back in about probably a week's time to talk more DecaturFC. See you later in Decatur.
Till next time, be brave, be bold.
For the black and gold.